Welcome to The Shoreline, brought to you by Shores and Islands, Ohio, the Midwest's hottest vacation destination. I am Jill Bauer, PR manager for Shores and Islands, Ohio, and joining me again today is co-host Dayton Barnett, social media manager for Shores and Islands, Ohio. Hi, Dayton.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's beautiful outside.
It is a beautiful sunny day here on the North Coast, and we just had a yummy lunch, so we filled our bellies. And we're good to go. Dayton and I are here every week to give you the inside scoop on everything happening here in our island and coastal communities and the events and attractions that we think you'll want to know about and visit. If you're new to the podcast, Shores and Islands, Ohio is located on Lake Erie. We're between Toledo and Cleveland on Ohio's North Coast. We're home to Cedar Point Amusement Park, 3 indoor water park resorts, miles of beaches and shoreline, amazing boating, fishing, and water recreational opportunities, and a variety of community and cultural events. And then Dayton, as part of his job, he gets to always be out and about gathering content for our social channels where you should be following along. If you're not, you should be following along and make sure that you engage with us there. And if you've been listening or following along the past couple of weeks, you've seen Dayton out filling his belly, eating a lot of really good food as part of his Dine Local video series that has had him a lot of great restaurants and hangouts in the area. And as we transition kind of into spring, we've got some other fun things coming up. What's going on over on the social channels, Dayton?
Honestly, as we're just getting into the weather's getting warmer. So we're just getting into, like you said, the spring, all the summer stuff. So we're getting into a lot of the water parks. We're getting into outside events, things that are going to start happening outside.
Yeah, that'll be really exciting. The weather is definitely getting a little bit nicer. The sun is shining, and we're really looking forward to being able to enjoy the outdoors and be out walking and enjoy, our beautiful lake. And do you have any other special social media projects you want to plug?
Honestly, just keep up with social, especially in the summer, because summertime, as we try to push is that, the entire region is becoming a year-round destination. Obviously, you're going to have, a pickup in the summer, but, so it's summertime. So everything's going to be popping. We're going to be out and about everywhere. There's going to be lots of things happening across the board. So it's just, you got to be there because you don't want to miss anything. You don't want to miss giveaways. Like I plan on doing a lot of giveaway stuff this year and this summer to just boost engagement, especially out at the events, the big events at the pier, the things that are happening. Like I plan to do a lot of things just to increase in-person engagement with everybody. And, one of those things is giveaways. So I'm like, let's do it. So yeah, you got to make sure you're just active and you're ready and you're watching it all.
That's right. So whatever your favorite social channel is, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you like to scroll, make sure you're following Shores and Islands, Ohio. You don't want to miss any of those fun contests, giveaways, and all of the fun video content that Dayton posts. So speaking of events, we have a really big event coming up, and that's what we are here to talk about today, a totally stellar, out-of-this-world event, the total solar eclipse. So, of course, on April 8th, 2024, the moon will completely block out the sun for a rare total solar eclipse. Due to our global position directly in the path of totality, our communities in and around the Shores and Islands, Ohio area will enjoy unobstructed viewing times of approximately 4 minutes, one of the longest durations in the entire region. The last total solar eclipse visible in Ohio happened in 1806, and the next one in Ohio will not happen again until 2099. So that takes us to our guest joining us today to educate us all about the eclipse and to also talk a little bit about a cool local attraction. Joining us is Kelly Summers from the Sidney Frohman Planetarium, which is located in Sandusky. Kelly Summers currently serves as the Sandusky City Schools District STEAM, that stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Mathematics coach. For the past 3 years, he's worked to create programs and present to students and the community in the Sidney Frohman Planetarium. The planetarium was built in 1967 and was remodeled in 2018. He creates programs and presents them to students in preschool through ninth grade and a few select high school classes for the city of Sandusky, as well as hosting neighboring school districts into the planetarium. He also presents programs to the public on select Sunday afternoons and Thursday evenings. The Sidney Frohman Planetarium is the only planetarium within a 60-mile radius of Sandusky. It serves both local school districts and the public by providing information on our solar system and space travel in hopes of inspiring today's youth to learn and pursue careers in the space industry. So welcome to the Shoreline, Kelly. We're so happy to have you. Thanks for joining us.
It's great to be here. Thanks for inviting me along, Dayton and Jill.
Of course. We're really excited to, again, dive into this big event that's coming a little bit less than a month away now. So tell us, just exactly what is the Great American Solar Eclipse?
All right. Well, we do get eclipses happening on the planet maybe twice a year, but the orbit of the moon is about 5 degrees off than the orbit of the Earth. So having the shadow that blocks out all this light from the sun happening over your neighborhood is extremely rare for us. So we will experience this on April 8th. We will have, the moon will be in a new moon phase. It will pass right in between the sun and Earth, and will cast a shadow, which we call an umbra, and that's what a lot of people are referring to as the path of totality. So the shadow will land around Durango, Mexico, and travel northeast across our continent, right over our heads in the Shores and Island area, and then we'll continue on through northeast Ohio into Canada, and we'll eventually get right over Newfoundland, Canada, before it heads out into maritime Atlantic Ocean.
Wow. I mean, that's just a really long swath of land. Do you have any idea how long that is or how much area that covers?
Now, I didn't look up the miles per se of how much it's covering, but it's well over 3,000 miles on land. The shadow, when it hits the land, because of the turning of the Earth and the movement of the moon going around us, it picks up speed as it goes across the land. And it drops the size just a little bit. So it'll hit land. The shadow will be going somewhere around 1,561 miles per hour. And wow. It'll probably be somewhere around 132 miles across. By the time it gets over the Shores and Island area, we will have the shadow be about 112 miles across, and it'll be traveling about 2,100 some miles per hour. So that means that we will get about 3 minutes and 52 seconds of total darkness. So that speed all has to do with the Earth spinning and the moon orbiting the Earth and all of us traveling around the sun.
That's insane.
It really is. I mean, it's mind-blowing. Clearly, it's not something I'm going to understand. Yeah, it's a very rare occurrence, at least in this area. Like you said, it happens how often across the United States each year?
We just got a annular solar eclipse on October 14th this last fall.
Can you explain the difference? What's the difference between the annual and the total?
Well, the orbit of the moon isn't the same, doesn't keep the same distance from Earth. So I had the students today, instead of having them show me a circle with their hands, I had them show me an oval with their hands. So at certain times, the moon is a little bit further away from Earth, and at other times it's a little bit closer. And a lot of us have memories of this, but we don't really access them too much. So you might remember, if you access your memory bank, that we've had full moons, which is the opposite place for a solar eclipse. Those happen on new moons, but the full moons, you can remember a full moon being really big in the sky. Yeah. And that's because the moon's actually closer to us. But then there's other times in your memory bank, you remember a full moon that looks a little bit smaller in the sky, or really small in the sky. And that has to do with that the moon is a bit further away because it's on that oval path, just a little bit more distant from Earth. So we're really fortunate on April 8th, the moon's going to be closer to us and block out all the sun, where on October 14th, this in 2023, the moon was a little bit further away. So they always had at least the ring of fire as the moon went across it. You always had to have your solar viewing glasses on as you witnessed that eclipse.
Now, obviously, this is something very special, especially for the region. I don't know if you have any knowledge of, when something like this last happened here, or just, any knowledge on, why something like this is so special in general and, to this region.
Yeah, the frequency happening over your neighborhood is really rare. So we're calling it a once in a lifetime experience for most of us. So the last time it came around the greater Sandusky area and Erie and Huron and Ottawa counties was back in 1806. And then if you think back that Ohio only became a state in 1803, and Sandusky didn't become a city until 1818, and Norwalk didn't become a city until 1817, some years after the last eclipse. The next eclipse we'll experience in the shores and islands area won't be to the year 2099. So some of my visitors today in the planetarium, I was hosting some third graders, several of them will still be around to see that next eclipse. But the next one after that is not until the year 2444 for our area.
What was that year again, Kelly?
The year 2444.
Wow. So some of those kids will be around when it happens again in 2099, but the three of us, Dayton, you might be.
No, absolutely not. I hope not. But so watching this is going to be amazing. You mentioned it just a little bit ago, watching the eclipse with specific glasses, the safety. How can somebody watch the eclipse safely?
All right. We were going over, as I do with all my programs, how to watch the sun safely. So you should never look directly at the sun. It could possibly cause long-term damage to your eyes. So I'm fortunate enough that I have a decent supply of solar viewing glasses that I was able to, with the help of Shores and Islands and a grant that Sandusky City Schools was awarded by the Beckling Foundation. And so we have a supply of solar viewing glasses that we're giving to our visitors at the planetarium. And so while supplies last, we'll be handing out glasses to our visitors. But we do have glasses that we've purchased for all the students and staff at Sandusky City Schools.
And it's recommended that you don't even attempt to look at this or experience it without the glasses, correct?
Yes. When you're going to view the sun, it's not good to look directly at it. You should have the solar viewing glasses. The main reason why we have the solar viewing glasses is to protect our eyes from the ultraviolet rays that come from the sun. So we get a lot of good rays from the sun. We experienced some heat during the summer. We get the colors of the rainbow that allows us to see visible light. But we do get some bad rays from the sun as well, the UV or the ultraviolet rays. That's the rays that damage our eyes. So we can use solar viewing glasses. I recommend that you never look at the sun using a telescope or binoculars. That'll cause instant and permanent damage to your eyes unless you get special solar filters. And you can get UV filters for binoculars and telescopes, as well as your phones and even digital cameras. So if you try to take a picture of the sun with your digital camera without a filter, you could very well damage the sensors of your phone. And then when you go to take pictures afterwards, the pictures won't be as crisp or look nearly as nice.
And that was definitely going to be me. It's going to be needing a new phone.
Yep. I think we both just said the same thing.
No, I was just saying that I didn't know that, and Travis, mentioned that like last week, that he was like, yeah, you also shouldn't use your phone. And I'm just sitting there, I was like, my eyes open, I'm like, oh yeah, I wouldn't do that. I'm like, I was like, that definitely would have been me outside. I know not to look at it. I know that, but I definitely would have just been
pointing my phone at it and trying to look at it.
I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people that don't know that and might try it.
Without a doubt. I think a lot of people will, and it may not do that much noticeable damage to your phone, but it very well could, depending on what kind of quality pictures you really want to take with the phone.
I bet the cell phone stores are ecstatic that their business is going to go up.
And I was talking with some of my astronomy friends, and they also mentioned that if it's your first time experiencing a solar eclipse, maybe it's not the best idea to try to take some photos. A lot of people try to get the moon just perfectly positioned in front of the sun, and they found out that they end up wasting a lot of the time and don't get to enjoy the solar eclipse itself.
Yeah.
So they said, save the picture taking to the people that are called eclipse chasers, the people that are traveling to the areas and see often a lot of eclipses. Those are the ones that can rely on them taking pictures. But they also said that if you're watching the eclipse with a group of people, it's often neat to stop and look at everybody's faces and see the expressions on everybody that's actually watching the eclipse and see the awe look on their face, because that's a neat part of the whole experience of watching an eclipse.
So Kelly, can you tell us just what are we going to expect that day in terms of timing, right? I mean, we know it's only going to be a little bit less than 4 minutes for the complete darkness, but like when will it start getting dark, and will it be, similar to a sunset sunrise situation, or like what's the total duration of the event?
Okay, and it really depends on exactly where you're located. That really has an effect on it. So I'll give you the general times, and everything I say, give or take a minute to a few seconds, either way, depending on your location. So around 2 o'clock in the afternoon is when all this is going to begin. So up to that point, it's going to seem like a regular morning, except we're going to have a lot of people in the area, which will be great. And then around 2 o'clock, the moon is actually going to start moving in front of the sun. You might start to notice that if you're outside, that the colors don't seem nearly as crisp as they usually do. So it almost feels like you're in a science fiction movie as it gets darker out there. You might even look around and you might notice like the shadows kind of changing a little bit. You might even be able to see a double shadow. But after 2 o'clock, it'll continually get darker and darker. I expect some of the birds that are out singing will think it's nighttime and they will stop singing. There might be some nocturnal animals like possum and raccoons and skunks that might decide to wake up. They'll be confused, so I recommend not trying to go out and pet those animals or interact with them. Just let them be.
Stay away from skunks, Dayton.
Yes, don't pet the striped kitties.
I have no intention. Absolutely none. I do not need to be in a crowd of people smelling like a skunk.
Yeah.
And then the best time to really, if you want to spend the quality time outside for the eclipse, is probably about 3 o'clock. It's going to start getting really dark outside. It'll be noticeably dark. And then around 3:12, again, give or take a few seconds there, the moon will then be right in front of the sun. It will be really amazing. At that point, as you see the moon in front of the sun, there'll be a few little dots of light at the bottom, little circles of light. We call that Bailey's bead, named after astronomer Bailey. Once those Bailey's bead disappears, you can actually take off your solar viewing glasses. And I recommend taking off your solar viewing glasses for that 3 minutes and 52 seconds that we get to experience.
The totality. Yeah.
Yeah, the totality part. So if it's a clear day and we don't have a lot of clouds in the sky, you'll actually be able to look at some of the planets. Now, for us on Earth looking at the planets, they just look like really bright stars. And so the moon's going to be between the Earth and the sun, but not between the sun and the other planets. So Jupiter will be to the left of the sun. It'll look like a really bright star. Venus will be to the right of the sun, also looking like a bright star. And beyond Venus to the right, there'll be Saturn and Mars hanging out together very close. Just really close to the sun on the left side will be Mercury. All of those planets are on the opposite side of the sun than the Earth on April 8th. So we can actually look for them during the day. So you got that 3 minutes and 52 seconds ticking off to see if you can find those planets, and then check out any other stars that might be glowing at that point. And then as the moon continues its path, we might see you'll see a little bit of light towards the top, and they call that the diamond ring. And that's when that ultraviolet light is coming back to us, and you want to get those solar viewing glasses so then you can safely watch the moon move away from the sun. But during that part of totality, if you have your solar viewing glasses on, you won't be able to see anything at all. So I'll recommend taking those off just for a short while so that you can enjoy looking at stars during the daytime.
Okay, this might be a stupid question, but what if you put the camera in the glasses? Like, is this still a problem?
I have not tried using the glasses for a camera, as for a filter for a camera. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking.
I mean, I was more so asking for a friend. Yeah, it was for a friend. You know, I wouldn't do it, but there was asking.
You might.
For them, yeah.
Yeah, I've had some people come into the planetarium and said they're going to try using their solar viewing glasses as a filter for their camera to take pictures. So if you get your solar viewing glasses early enough, it's worth trying it, because I call them solar viewing glasses, but a lot of people call them solar eclipse glasses. But the thing it's the same glasses, but really you can look at the sun any day, not just during an eclipse day, but every day you can look at the sun with those glasses. They block out all the ultraviolet light. So during that totality, since we don't have any of that ultraviolet light coming at us, you can actually go ahead and take pictures with your phone at that time, though it'll be really dark. And another thing is, if you're lucky enough to be at a location high enough during totality, like maybe on top of a building, as long as you're not close to the edge of it, or if you're along the shoreline of Lake Erie, you should be able to see a 360-degree sunset. In every direction, it'll look like the sun is setting. So that is really neat to be in those types of positions, and that'll happen no matter if it's cloudy or clear that day. So you should be able to look in every direction, look across Lake Erie, and whichever way you're facing, and see sunset happening in it.
Okay, I'm going to have to remember that. I'm going to remember that, especially in the summer.
That is really cool. That's something I hadn't heard yet. You mentioned, Kelly, about being able to see all of the planets during, that 3.5 minute period. Will you need binoculars to see them, or are they going to be large enough that you can pick them out?
Well, if you do not have binoculars or a telescope, they're just going to look like really bright stars.
You'll know which ones they are.
Yeah, if you have a pair of really good binoculars or a telescope, then you can start seeing the details of the planet. So you should be able to see all the rings of Saturn. You should be able to see all the stripes of Jupiter. And it'll be really neat looking at those if you have a telescope.
Now, when it starts to come back up, like how long does that process take before it gets back to being, normal Monday afternoon?
So after that 3 minutes and 52 seconds, that puts us around 3:16 in the afternoon. And then the moon will continue its path off the sun, and that'll take till about 4:30 in the afternoon. And then it'll seem like a regular day, like nothing happened, except we will have tons and tons of traffic in the area.
Perhaps.
Yeah, leading right into that, not looking forward to it. I'm definitely planning on I'm just going to sit. I'm not going to move, because I know nobody's going to move anywhere. But there's going to be a lot going on in the city. I mean, in pretty much any city around. How can other people and how can everyone prepare for the eclipse? Like, what else can they do to prepare for it? Comes to the events that are going to be happening and just everything together that's going to be altered because of this event.
All right. I've advised people there seems to be like two camps of people, and there's the people that want to stay at home. And then there's other people that want to be with other people, enjoy this in a crowd. And my advice to everybody, make it as stress-free as possible. So if you're thinking that, all right, I want to be with a whole bunch of people, I know that some areas like downtown Sandusky are just going to have almost like a fair event, and there's lots of action at Jackson Street Pier. I know Norwalk has some things planned, and all the different communities have different events going on. Don't plan on hurrying back home. Enjoy the day. Let that traffic kind of filter out. Enjoy the people that you're being around and make it stress-free there. For the people that are planning on staying home, make sure that you don't have to go out that day. A few things that I've been trying to get out to people is, since we have all the hotel rooms booked and a lot of the Airbnbs are booked, we'll have people coming in. They'll probably buy some of the grocery stores supplies. It's not like you're going to go in and have all the shelves empty, but maybe certain things might be difficult to acquire if you wanted to go out that day, like the bread and the milk. So make sure you kind of stock up a little bit so you don't have to go out that day. Maybe don't want to have to go through a drive-through restaurant, especially during totality, preventing the people inside from going out and
we want them to enjoy it too. Good point.
Yeah, let everybody enjoy. So people staying at home, make sure that you don't have to go to a pharmacy or a drugstore if you need daily medications. Make sure you have plenty of gas in the car. Just make it a nice, enjoyable day that you can spend with your neighbors, not having to get out and compete with all that traffic on the road that day.
You heard it here. Be outside and have fun. Enjoy the events that are happening. and just relax, enjoy the day. There's going to be a lot going on. So definitely stay out there. I'll be out there. A lot of our team will be out there and just, having a lot of fun with everything that's going to be going on.
That's great advice. I really like, whether you're enjoying it with a group of people or, staying safely at home, just be prepared, know what to expect, do it safely, and, just really enjoy it. For a lot of us, it is definitely a once in a lifetime experience. So I want to just pivot quickly, Kelly, into the planetarium itself. So normally, clearly right now, we're focusing on this one, celestial event, but what kind of programming do you normally do there at the planetarium?
So every month we're usually opened on one select Sunday and maybe one select evening night per month, though for the Eclipse we added on extra shows to accommodate the crowds that we are getting. But sometimes we'll watch a full dome movie, we'll watch maybe something about going into deep outer space. I know after the Eclipse I'm going to do a flying through the solar system and visit all the planets and some of their moons. We are going to show a dark matter mystery full dome movie in May. During June, I'll have the stars shown on the dome. We're going to focus on the stars you can see during the summertime and which ones to focus in on. So every month we kind of change it a little bit. Maybe December I'll look at those winter constellations. So we try to mix it up just a little bit. We do have some people that are repeat viewers to the planetarium, which is great. And so we try to give them a little variety of different things that we're able to do here at the Sidney Frohman Planetarium.
Is the planetarium, I know you're related to Sandusky schools, is it only open during the school year or are you open year round?
We will be open year-round, and it'll just be like the one select Sunday, whichever it falls on, and the select evening night, which is usually a Thursday night. We'll do a set of shows every month throughout the year.
Great. Is there a charge to get in?
No, it is free to come, but it's a kind of first come, first serve basis. What we've really noticed was a surprise in attendance, and that on our Sunday shows, we've had people showing up extremely early for them. They've been great crowds. We try to fit as many people as we can in the planetarium as we're allowed to, and hopefully people, if they couldn't get in one show, they'll come back for another one.
Was actually going to be another question. How many people can you accommodate?
We have 52 seats in the planetarium, and I have a handful of folding chairs, and we've asked some children to sit on the floor for the program. I can fit 65 people in the planetarium before I kind of push the fire code population in there.
Yeah, keep everybody safe, of course.
Yes.
That's amazing. I cannot believe this is a totally free attraction. I mean, I can't believe that people get to experience space and learn about it and that there's not a charge for it.
Yeah, it's very nice that we have a grant from the Sidney Frohman Foundation, and it's part of Sandusky City Schools trying to give back to the public and showcase what we can do here in the district.
Lots of information, lots going on. Where can everybody go for this information to continue to look out for it, to continue to be ready for this event?
So if you're coming to a show for the Sidney Frohman Planetarium, your best bet is to go on the Sandusky City Schools website. So this would be scs-k12.net/Sandusky Planetarium. And if you put that on your search, hopefully you'll get to the Sidney Frohman Planetarium website on the Sandusky City Schools site. And we have a listing of our current and our upcoming programs that we're offering. And on Sundays, we've matched up the time that we're open to the Sandusky Cultural Center, which is next door to us. And
Nice.
While you're waiting to get in the planetarium, you can walk around and see art from local artists at that time. And I know they're going to switch their offerings on April 7th. They are starting with their Eclipse show. So it's all the artist's interpretation of the word eclipse. So I'm looking forward to seeing that come April.
Yeah, I noticed that you actually on April 7th have at least 3 showings of your current Eclipse programming. So really getting people ready for the big event that weekend. And for people that are, maybe visiting from outside of the area, that's just, one more opportunity, one more thing to do. But as Kelly mentioned, be there early and plan to check out the art exhibit next door as well. All very cool. Kelly, is there anything else that you wanted to add or make sure we include?
Yes, and so if it happens to be rainy, and I don't think we're going to get snow that day, but even if it's a cloudy sky, still right in the middle of the afternoon, it will get as dark as night, and that'll still be really neat to experience, regardless if it's sunny or not.
Of course, we've mentioned it before, but you can find all of the area Eclipse event information on a special webpage that we're hosting, shoresandislandseclipse.com. I know Kelly mentioned their website. We can also link to that from shoresandislands.com. Just from our general homepage, you can check out the events calendar to find out when their special events are happening, and from the Eclipse page as well. He mentioned also that they've got their Eclipse glasses available for their guests while supplies last. Additionally, we also have them at the Shores and Islands Welcome Centers, one in Port Clinton and one in Sandusky. So if you are local, you can contact us or check out Dayton on our social media pages to find out how you can get those glasses. We also have commemorative total solar eclipse t-shirts for sale, with a portion of those proceeds going to the NASA Armstrong Advocacy Coalition. That group is made of community members passionate about ensuring the long-term viability of the Neil A. Armstrong Test Facility, which is a remote NASA test facility of the Glenn Research Center, and it's located right here in Erie County. Those shirts are available at both of our welcome centers, but they're also available online. So if you're listening from outside the area, again, you can go to our website and order those online. So I think I'm really looking forward to this experience. Dayton, are you excited?
Beyond excited. It kind of, though, is like, it's a weird feeling because this is, one of the biggest events that's going to happen this year, if not the biggest. And it's like my job is to get these things in action. And it's the one thing that I cannot actually get. Like, I have to just sit there and enjoy it like everybody else.
Yes, be present. Be present. I think that's one of the keys that we're taking away from this today too. Is really enjoy it and be present during the event. So thank you, Kelly, for joining us. We really appreciate it having you on today. Again, Kelly Summers from the Sidney Frohman Planetarium, and of course, thank you to all the listeners for joining us. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, so you won't miss a minute of the action here in Shores and Islands, Ohio. You can find more information, including past episodes of The Shoreline, online at shoresandislands.com. So I guess that's it. We'll see you next time. We'll see you on April 8th on The Shoreline.